Hello, Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera. Nama saya Naim. I'm a fine art student studying in the UK, generally curious about everything happening in the world. And welcome back to another episode of Tumpang Tanya. For my next question, this can either Uncle Mazri or Najla, you can answer this. So we know that this Palestine issue has been for decades. So I would like to ask, like historically, and what what makes this different than before? Najla, do you have any opinions on that?
Actually, because we've seen in the past few Ramadans Israeli attacks towards the Palestinians, right? I think what made it different now, or what made it blow up even more than before, is the Hamas issue. So a lot of, I guess, as we said, media just now, they've been using that to, I guess, make Israel into the victim. And I guess because of this change, they were able to do it so smoothly. And I think that's what made it different from all of the situations that have been happening before. Uncle, would you like to also add on?
I think this one is a big blow to the Israelis since it is at least since Yom Kippur when they were caught with their pants down. In the sense that in Yom Kippur they also were surprised by the Egyptian action, the Arab countries' action. This time also. So the wanted Israeli Secret Service, Mossad, the military prowess and the technological capabilities did not detect. I think one I read somewhere is 2G versus 4G and 5G. So they were caught by surprise. And this is a blow to the administration of Prime Minister Netanyahu. And he's a very right wing. His government also is extra right wing. So I think he suffered a loss of face. That's why the disproportionate because if you look what is the end game for the Israelis, uh, I don't think they want to push the Palestinian in Gaza out of Gaza altogether. The Egyptians certainly don't want that to happen. So, what is their end game? I don't think they themselves have yet figured out what is the end game and set to punish, to retribution for what the Hamas did to them. Secondly, this issue, let's look at it realistically. There's the idealistic view, and there's also the realist view. What is important? Important thing is the setting up of two-state solution. First, recognition of Israel as a state, which is already a member of the UN, recognized by a majority of countries in the world. 31 of 57 members of the Organization of Islamic Conference recognize the state of Israel, have a diplomatic relation with the state of Israel. 51 out of 57 OIC members. Okay. 2 out of 6 Gulf Cooperation Council members have diplomatic recognition and have resident ambassadors of Israel in their capital. But what is missing here is the most important part. Independent, sovereign, economically viable Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital, with the pre-1967 border, which is very generous. Because I think it should be the 1947 UN Partition Plan, Resolution 181. But okay, they wanted the pre-1967 border. In order to achieve this realistically, then Israel have to give up the terrorists that's not theirs anyway to create this viable, independent, sovereign, and economically viable. If you look at the map, you can see why economically viable is a very important phrase here. Because Gaza and West Bank is totally separated. On the other matter is, if this were to happen, then the Palestinian group that is governing Gaza must also accept the fact that they need to be Israel in order for as a bargaining chip in order to create a Palestinian state. And the United States of America will have to play a very important role to guarantee the security of Israel, because I don't think the Israelis will trust anybody else except the Americans to guarantee the security, their border integrity. So now, question of this Palestinian state. We must be serious, in particular, the Arab states and the OIC members. Why 31 of them recognize Israel's diplomatically without, in return, getting a Palestinian state? That is a question. I think we will have to start as Muslims in our own backyard first before we start to. So these 31 states need to reassess back. They cannot reward Israel diplomatically, while at the same time, the losing party is the Palestinians, no state. But you recognize Israel. You give them legitimacy. So Israeli future governments and current government, past government will say, doesn't matter that we string along the Palestinians while giving lip service to the creation of Palestinian state, but at the same time, our action will take a different trajectory than what our rhetoric by getting Muslim countries, majority countries, OIC members, one by one to recognize them without the issue of the Palestinian creation of Palestinian state being at the forefront. We need to take a realistic view of this. If not, we are going to have this every time this will happen. And this ultimate suffering will be borne out by the Palestinians. So Muslim countries, OIC countries need to, GCC countries who are now rich because the price of oil is going up, they need to contribute to be at the forefront. They cannot say that, okay, we have security cooperation. Some Arab Gulf countries have close security cooperation with Israel. They're buying equipment, they're buying military defense articles from Israel. But at the same time, the issue of a Palestinian state becomes a lip service for everyone. So we cannot afford this every time. And if you see every time, every incident, major incident, in the end, what is happening is the Palestinians will lose out. But at the same time, you must remember that the Israelis also are creating for them a condition of insecurity. The price of securing Israel, the borders of Israel, is getting higher. I don't think they imagine that 1948, when they create Israel, that to secure Israeli security is going to cost them a lot in terms of tragedies and resources. And what is worried me this time around, because the Americans and the British are very too open about their support towards Israel. Yes, the Americans have been channeling defense funds to Israel for the longest of time. They are the biggest defense and economic aid recipient of the United States. But no presidents have been like Biden. He went to Israel. What? At the same time, he's reported, there is a conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu to admit that he's a Zionist. So this is going to inflame the situation for the Rishi Sunak. The United Kingdom also went to Israel. What for? UK should be the country very careful in this issue, because you in 1917 promised to give something which is not yours to the Jewish community and allow Jewish immigration after that to create what is today the state of Israel. you are mandated. That territory was under the Ottoman Empire. They lost. You dismember the Ottoman Empire. You are given mandate by the League of Nations to administer towards the eventual independence, but you abuse that trust by creating a state Israel, but not ensuring the creation of a state Palestine. So United Kingdom, Malaysia, is the least should be touching this issue in such a very negative way. Okay lah, Sunak is a conservative, but I don't think other conservative prime ministers have been so blatant in their misregard for what is equitable and what is just.
I see. Definitely, we can see how the US and the UK is showing their support for Israel. It's actually sad to see. Yeah. So that's quite all of the questions that I have for Uncle Mazri. Najla, do you have any questions would you like to ask?
Actually, I'm quite curious on what the Arab countries have in plans to help the Palestinians, because I've seen in a lot of the primary sources or videos coming from Palestine itself, a lot of them are crying out for help from these specific countries. Jadi, I've been wondering, what have they been doing all this while, and if there are actually any actions in the near future that they are planning to take in order to help the civilians.
I think some of them are helping, or most of them are helping the rich countries, but there is some political differences maybe between the people who are running Gaza at the current moment. Maybe their backers are not liked by some of the Arab countries. So this becomes problematic, like in Yemen, when the Shia and Sunni were at loggerheads. Some OIC members supported this group. Some OIC members were non-Arab supporting this group. So I think this, to a certain extent, is being played out also. What is happening? They could have done more. The 31 OIC members who are currently recognizing Israel diplomatically should sever diplomatic relation, close their diplomatic representation in Israel. You see, when Israel declared that Jerusalem is their capital, which is a controversial move, Muslim countries who have diplomatic relation should have acted and should have long ago severed any diplomatic relation, but they are still recognizing Israel. And this is not so good lah, because it must be quid pro quo in the sense that yes, we recognize you, but you must also allow the establishment of a viable Palestinian state. So it must be a two-state solution. That's the only key to lasting peace. But that state must be on just basis. It cannot be so hobble economically or security-wise that it doesn't make sense. So Israel have to sacrifice, but they also must give up what is not theirs, what they took in pre-1967. At the same time, some groups need to assess their stance on certain issues. But I think you need a pragmatic, though this have to happen. United States should stop. We understand the nexus between Israel, security nexus between Israel and United States. But by not being an honest broker, United States, you are perpetuating insecurity at the global level. So the United States need to be an honest broker. Try to be an honest broker. Or even cannot try to be an honest broker, don't be so blatant as President Biden in giving support to one group and giving just a wing-wing to the other group. So this is not the way forward.
And I was just wondering, because so in terms of all of the protests happening around the world, I saw in the news that Malaysia also had a rally in Dataran Merdeka, I think yesterday or the day before. And I was thinking, how do these protests contribute towards the Palestinians, if any at all?
I think protest is very important since it's a signal of solidarity. If there's no protest, then much worse. Because the Israelis think that, oh, they can get away with this. There must be, it's like the apartheid in South Africa. Everybody protested, and that should be the way for us to correct injustice. Peaceful protest, but we should make our feelings heard very clear, very loudly, that we won't stand for this. You should allow the people of Palestine, give the people of Palestine what is due to them, their dignity, their independence, their ability to govern themselves, to decide for themselves their future. You cannot rob a people, oppress of their dignity, oppress the people, then expect that your security also will be secure. It doesn't work that way. So this zero-sum game should not be allowed to further or not. Since 9/11 happened 20 years ago, and the world have suffered a lot for that. So we should remove any condition that can make feeling of a dignity being robbed, festered anywhere in the world. So it's like communism. You remove the feeling that some people are getting richer while some people are being oppressed. So if you create the right condition to allow economic justice, where everybody have their fair share, equitable share, then ideologies like communism will not have festered. Same here. If you allow all this insecurity, feeling that the dignity of a people is being robbed, and nobody is giving them any help, the big boys are being also bullies. United States are bullying and say this is not important for us. So that's very bad. It's like during the segregation era in the United States, how they treat their African Americans. Very bad. You must remember that right after the Civil War, there was a Supreme Court decision that decided that segregation, separate but equal. You can provide separate amenity, separate service as long as equal. There's no such thing. But it happened nearly for 100 years. And in America right now, we have the Republican Party since the election of Trump have been going also very right wing. Yeah, President Biden, because most of his national security officials, important ones, are a bit pro-Israel. So you have what happened when Biden suddenly fly to show solidarity and sending American aircraft carriers near there, preparing the American military for what? How can you create a condition where the American military is going to be used against the people of Gaza? It is a lunacy. You cannot just create that. The security of Israel is a nuclear power. It's only I think, nuclear power allowed to acquire nuclear weapons right under the noses of every Western nation. So Israel have this wanted military, strong military, and wanted intelligence service. So why worry? Why create? Oh, we need more in order to feel more safer. I don't think that should be the way. And give the Palestinians what is due to them, their dignity. Don't rob their dignity, and give them a Palestinian state.
Right. So is there more questions? Or because if there's none, we would like to conclude this episode. So again, thank you very much. Thank you to both of you for sharing this info on the Palestine issue. As a simple conclusion, I stand with Palestine, of course. Yeah, give Palestine a state. It's time that the world needs to know that what Israel is doing is, I mean, it's
It's
very bad.
debt of honor of the global community to the Palestinians.
Yes, yes, exactly. So again, thank you very much to both of you. Sekian, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.